Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I'd like to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So, whether you're just listening for the very first time, or perhaps you've been listening for 200 and I think it's 93 episodes, started just before the COVID years, welcome. Glad to have you here. It's a it's a wonderful way to be able to stay in touch with people that don't just live across the street. And while I resist sometimes technology in a lot of ways, I'm super grateful for the opportunity for us to be able to share time with one another. Time is precious. The older I get, the more precious it becomes. So, anyway, let's see here. Just a couple reminders. The purpose of this podcast really is to support each of us in our own personal growth and development, becoming more of who we were created and designed to be, less of a response or a reaction to the circumstances or situations in life, because it's easy to just be a reaction rather than to act and come from those divine qualities that we all have and perhaps aspire to living from more often. Okay, I don't have your answers. That's the good news and the bad news. You do. But sometimes when we listen to each other's stories, we can hear something, it triggers something, and it helps us see our next step or see something about ourselves that perhaps we've overlooked or judged or whatever. So that's my hope. My hope is that in every episode, you hear something that it's like a nugget. It gives you something that helps you take your next step. And also, I haven't said this for a while, but I do offer time on Tuesdays where I can kind of sit as an elder in an individual session and reflect back to you what I see and hear. And the clue is I always see you better than you see yourself. And I always hear something that can become, a stepping stone for you or an acknowledgement and something that perhaps you're hungry for. So if that inspires you, sign up. Happy to spend some time with you. It's by a donation basis, so don't let yourself get stopped. Okay. Well, as you read in this description, if you read the description, I'm starting to feel like my life's become very biblical because my husband and I survived being ground zero of the LNU fire in California a few years ago. And we are on day one post an amazing flood in our farm here. So it's a combination of events, as always, traumatic events are. So there was a good bit of snowpack in the mountains, and suddenly the weather started warming up. We got a warm spell, and it'd been raining for a few days. And that combination pushed the Lightning Creek to beyond its ability to hold itself, and it created some new channels. And the channels were created up above our farm, and they ran down right through our farm. And we woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning. The dogs actually woke us up. They were very clear something was going on that wasn't supposed to be going on. And if you listened to it, I was, sleeping, but I often wake up and doze and sleep and doze and sleep. And I thought, wow, this is just a crazy rainstorm. My husband, on the other hand, thought it was wind. But with the dogs making enough fuss, we got up and then he let the dogs out. And our little Russell Terrier came back and she got on the bed with me and whined and whined and whined and shook and whined. And our labs didn't come back. And my husband got the flashlight and went out on the back porch and he pointed the flashlight to the left. And the Christmas lights on our creche and farm store were being reflected down below as if in water. And he was like, that's weird. How did there get to be a big puddle there? And he shined the light on it. And it was much more than a puddle. It was a massive river. And it was running just to the left of our home. And eventually the labs came in. They were soaking wet because they had to cross it to get in. And he went out the front door. He called me. We went out the front door and walked into another river that was running through the whole front side. And then we had a river running through the right side of our home. And so we were surrounded, unable to leave, uh, completely surrounded by, probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 foot deep, rushing water, and couldn't get to the other part of the farm. And so we got up, stayed up, and kept trying to call Emma, who lives in the farmhouse up above us, letting her know what was going on. And at some point, we were going to need her to open the gate up above and get in the skid steer and see if she could cross that river, pick us up so we could get up there, because in the early morning, we needed to milk cows. Anyway, long story short, Matthew called. We have this emergency list that we had created through this East Spring Creek organization. He started calling people, woke people up, people who also thought it was wind or had no idea what was going on, walked out and discovered they too had massive amounts of water flowing through their land. Other people had missed it because they were on the outside of it. Okay, all that said, we managed to get to the cows. We had 3 more rivers. So there were 6 rivers flowing through our land. There were 3 in the upper part. One went through the center of the barn, one on either side. Mostly what we lost was a lot of fencing and some trees and a lot of soil. We lost probably 4 or 5 feet of soil in this one, probably, I don't know, quarter, half acre section of the farm down in front. And today, the water has subsided, and we're beginning to try to pull dirt or pull some of the gravel and reclaim it. The main road into our farm is shut because the road collapsed from the water. The river overflowed. And so there is one out route, which is up through the national forest on kind of a sketchy dirt skinny road. So we haven't gone anywhere yet, but a couple people did come in today to help us begin to restore things, and then neighbors in the area. All right. So the power of water is amazing. At one point, my husband and I tried to walk across one of the streams. And, we've all heard this before. It's like, I don't know, a couple of inches of water, you can actually not be able to cross, and people can actually drown in. Well, it's true. You can't really walk through very many inches of water that's rushing. But the overall lesson that I want to share, because in all challenges, in all natural disasters, in all traumatic events, whatever you may be looking at, there's always lessons. There's always something we can learn and take away from it. So, as I was reflecting on that today, a couple of things happened. One, all of the people on our road, if they close not to be evacuated, they have stay in place orders. And so we have a farm store, and I just opened up the farm store. I said, listen, I'm going to overstock it. I open it up. It's just honor system, pay what you can, because there's people here who can't get out, can't get to groceries, don't have resources. So one of the things that I noticed is the generosity quality that we all have, whether it's expressed or not, gets activated. We have neighbors with tractors uh, clearing their own land, but also clearing a road that we share. We have somebody's tackle box that floated onto our farm from somewhere up above us. And, there's the social resource of Facebook, which is a big thing here, a community page where you can see people posting things that they found or things that have showed up and getting them back to their rightful owner. Um, there's, the business of gravel. They can't get in and out yet, but there's people able to haul gravel for us once the road gets open. The generosity that shows up is inspiring. And if you sit with it, if you sit with it for a while, and if you take a look back at your life at times where you were challenged, times where the people around you were challenged, I think you'll notice there's this spirit of generosity that rises to the surface because the truth is we are designed to help one another. Now, we can live pretty isolated lives for sure. We cannot even know our neighbors, and yet the houses may be very close to our own. No longer are people running across the street to borrow a cup of flour or a cup of sugar, probably not even eating flour and sugar anymore. But either way, the point is we've lost that connection, that generous connection of we are all in this together and we are a resource, one resource, working together as lots of different individuals and families. But as a collective, we are more powerful. We are more helpful. We are more resourceful. We want to belong and support each other. And so that's what I'm noticing. And I'm in this bliss of how beautiful it is when we all work together. And unfortunately, um, there's a lot of divisive energy in our culture right now. And I'm suggesting that some of the crises, the weather crises, the financial crises, the food crisis, all of these different opportunities for us to actually remember that we can work together. We can accomplish more together. We can take what we have, like the little boy with the fish and the bread in that biblical story. And if we keep our attention on love, we can share that with other people, and the impact of it multiplies. We all feel a little bit more fed. So that's my invitation to you this week. If you're in one of these areas that's feeling challenged by some dramatic climate or a climate event or a financial event or a social event, see if you can't be the leader that goes first in expressing that quality, that divine quality of generosity. And my experience is once someone extends themselves as being generous, other people join along. And pretty soon, what we have is a generous community. So that's my invitation. And I'll be here next week. And I look forward to talking to you then. But in the meantime, go out and do something kind for someone else. Share some resource you have and tap into that quality of divine generosity. All right? I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful week.